guys, June here, and it has come to my attention that people struggle with Blink, the Warped Floor dungeoneering boss, and I think most of that comes down to not knowing a couple of the simple mechanics about him. So I'm going to do a really quick guide in this video and show you how to kill him routinely without taking really any damage at all aside from the small auto attack damage. If you aren't familiar with the basics of the Blink fight, he starts off by running across the room from the west to the east side and from the south to the north side across 8 different paths between portals. And there are a bunch of pillars spread out throughout the room, and our objective is to block him from running into another portal by lifting a pillar. As he crosses the center line of the room during each of these runs, he blasts a magical attack that is the vast majority of the damage that you'll receive during the Blink fight, and this hits anywhere from 5 to 6k damage. There are, however, 2 attributes of this attack that we can utilize to make sure that we actually never get hit by this. The first is this attack actually has a range, so there are locations you can stand where it will not hit you. It doesn't arbitrarily hit any players standing in the room. In a moment I'll talk about where we're going to stand in our specific strategy to capitalize most on that. And the second attribute is that if we lift a pillar that's blocking Blink's path before he reaches the halfway point in the room, he actually won't fire this attack at all, and between abusing these 2 mechanics, we can prevent ourselves from ever being hit by this attack. So here is an aerial view of Blink's boss arena, and for the sake of this illustration we're going to assume that north is at the top, and we'll talk about everything correspondingly with that. From this perspective, Blink is only ever going to be running from the left to the right side and from the bottom to the top, so we want to stand in the far northeast corner on the tile that I marked in yellow. From this spot we only actually need to concern ourselves with raising 3 pillars, which I've marked here in gray. At this spot we're outside the range of any of the blasts that Blink will use as he crosses any of these blue paths, but we are within 1 tile of lifting any of the 3 pillars that block the remaining 4 paths, which are marked here in green. If you keep an eye on your minimap and look for the yellow NPC icon to pop up at any of the paths, you can actually anticipate which area Blink is going to be coming from before you actually see his character model and he runs across, saving you a few extra seconds and ensuring that you get the pillar up long before he uses this magical attack. Once you've caused Blink to crash into a pillar, you can actually engage combat with him. Once we can actually engage Blink in combat, there's only 2 more things we actually need to think about. The first is Blink does have a special attack, and he'll occasionally say, "Here it comes," and when he says "here it comes," you need to lift a pillar and stand behind it and allow the pillar to be directly between you and Blink. A few seconds after he says that, he'll release a magical blast that does about as much damage as the blast when he runs by, but standing behind the pillar prevents all damage from that. The other is simply that during some random HP thresholds, Blink will disappear and resume running back and forth between the portals like the fight starts off as, and we need to go through the whole process of standing in the corner and blocking his path with a pillar again. As long as we keep all this in mind and just repeat this cycle as many times as necessary, we can kill Blink without ever sustaining any major kind of damage, no deaths, and thus not compromising our dungeoneering XP at all. Additionally, if you have competent team members, you can position someone in the northwest corner and in the southeast corner as well, and effectively have someone available to lift a pillar in any of Blink's possible paths, which cuts the time for the boss fight about in half. However, if your friends don't know what they're doing, this can cause more problems than it solves, because you're only able to lift 1 pillar at a time, so if they lift the incorrect pillar, they end up costing you more time than they save. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this video gave you all the information you need to kill Blink routinely without wasting any of your dungeoneering experience, and I'll see you in the next video.